Hey everyone, Teo here. Today I'm reviewing the ACASIS TBU405 Plus, Thunderbolt and USB 4 SSD, enclosure and docking station. First of all, a disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by the company. And in this video, I'll just present to you my findings so that you can decide whether this is worth the money. And the price of this product is US $119 at the time of making this video. Now, there are actually three products from the TBU405 series. There is the TBU405, which is just a SSD enclosure. There is the TBU405 Pro, which comes with a fan. And then there is the Plus, TBU405 Plus, which comes with the fan and extra ports. Let's look at the ports included. There are two USB-A ports with USB 3.1 transfer speeds, so that's 10 gigabits per second. And the grills here are for the fan exhaust. On this side, there are two DisplayPorts version 1.4. So one downside or limitation to this product is there are no HDMI ports. So if you need HDMI video connection, you will have to get a DisplayPort to HDMI adapter. So the DisplayPort is able to support up to 8K 60Hz. That's one single video connection. If you use two DisplayPorts, you can get 4K 60Hz for both or from both ports. And on this side, that's the USB-C port with Thunderbolt 4 and USB 4 compatibility. And this is backwards compatible. And that is the USB-C power input. Now, it is possible to power this SSD enclosure with one single cable. However, when you connect multiple devices to the ports and there is not enough power, you will have to connect additional power here. And we have more grills here for the fan exhaust. And the last port is the USB Type-C port with USB 3.1 transfer speed, 10 gigabits per second. And this unfortunately cannot output video. Design for this enclosure or docking station looks beautiful. There are some cutouts here for heat dissipation. The corners are rounded off and the build quality is extremely solid because it's made with metal. At the bottom here, there are two big pieces of rubber feet, and that's the fan, which will suck in air and the air will expel from the sides. Now, to install the NVMe SSD, you just open it like this. It's so easy. This will support the 2280 NVMe SSD, and it can also work with the 2240 and 2260. So once you put the NVMe SSD inside, just make sure the connectors here align with the connectors here because this is what's going to power the fan behind, and just close it like this. These are the items included in the box. There's the enclosure, a 30 centimeter long Thunderbolt 4 cable. This is the quick start guide, two pieces of thermal paste, two rubber stoppers to hold down the NVMe SSD, and I'm not sure what this is for. I don't know what this is, and if you do, let me know in the comment section below. The SSD that I'm using for testing is the Western Digital SN770, which is a Gen 4 NVMe SSD. And the SSDs that are compatible with the storage enclosure are the ones that come with the B and M key or the M key. So after you install the SSD, make sure you put the thermal paste on top, obviously, because if this is not in contact with the metal plate here, the fan is not going to be able to cool the SSD. This product is actually really straightforward to review. Oh, by the way, if you are using this with a Mac and you want to connect to external displays, make sure you check how many displays your Mac can support. For example, with the M1 MacBooks, if I remember correctly, they can only support a total of 2 displays, including the display on the laptop. So if you connect 2 external displays to this docking station, you will still get a total of 2 displays. One here and one external display. I tested this with my Mac and Windows laptop, and I was able to power this enclosure with one single cable. And I also connected a Thunderbolt enclosure to this port here, and I did not have to connect additional power to this enclosure. Right now I'm in a very quiet room, so I can actually hear the fans. However, if there is slight ambient noise, then you won't be able to hear the fans because the fan noise is very low. So now let's take a look at the transfer speeds for the Thunderbolt connection. These are the Mac transfer speeds: 2400 megabytes per second write and 2700 megabytes per second read. So this is very fast. This is fast enough to edit 8K 60 FPS videos. And this is the transfer speed for Windows. This is slightly faster than the Mac. And I have also connected a Samsung SSD to this with this port, with the USB-C port, the 10 gigabits per second port. And this is the transfer speed I was able to get. It's much slower compared to the NVMe SSD inside. So I was only able to get 600 plus megabytes per second read and write, but this is still fast enough to edit 4K 60 FPS videos. I have tested this with Mac and Windows with the Samsung T7 SSD as well. And this is with the Thunderbolt enclosure that I have, another one. So I connected again to this port here, the USB-C port, and I was able to get faster transfer speed. So now this is able to edit 8K 24 FPS videos. Alright, to conclude, this product looks good and works as advertised. The downsides or limitations would be the lack of HDMI ports, even though there is definitely space to include at least one HDMI port, and the other downside is this USB-C port unfortunately cannot output video. But other than that, the file transfers pretty fast, and the pricing is, in my opinion, quite reasonable. So if you guys are interested to buy this, you can check out the links that I have for you in the video description below.